In the past, there have been many traditional ways to celebrate Christmas. With songs, with gifts, with family and friends. There's a new way.
Ho, 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 Vern!
With Ernest. Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ernest Saves Christmas was directed by John Cherry and stars Jim Varney as the title character, Ernest P. Worrell.
Oh, Ernest.
Yeah.
What a treasure. What a national treasure.
He is. He's a real talented performer.
Yes. Piece of Americana.
I think
class.
Ernest Saves Christmas is the second Ernest film. Although Wikipedia
Feature.
says it's the third.
It's a feature.
The second feature film.
Okay.
Yeah. After Ernest goes to camp.
Okay.
Ernest Saves Christmas chronicles Ernest's attempt to assist the current Santa Claus in finding a replacement before he ages out of the Santa Claus magic.
Yes, that is.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with Ernest, it's a character played by Jim Varney, who was a young stand-up comedian that was hired to portray this character in an ad that ended up becoming a series of ads and eventually video cassettes, TV shows, and feature films. It was basically he went viral before the internet.
What was he selling? What was the ad for?
The original ad? I'm not sure what the original ad was for. They would plug it into whatever.
Oh, you just use Jim as
They would make Ernest ads for various businesses and stuff. Yeah.
So I was thinking he's not like the Geico Gecko. He's like Larry the Cable Guy. Right, you're able to just Larry, sell our
I guess so. But Larry
irons
the Cable Guy is just a comedian who was on the radio. He's not really.
Yeah, no, he doesn't really sell.
It's
things.
you really have no frame of reference for this because this doesn't exist now.
Well, what about
this is a regional thing.
What about the ShamWow guy or other people who?
No, you're talking about spokespersons for single products. That's not what Ernest was at all.
Even that boxer.
What boxer?
What was his name? He had the George Foreman.
George Foreman?
Yeah.
George Foreman, that was his grill.
No, he had his grill, but he sold Meineke, tires, remember? He was a couple different
Yeah, but that's
spokespersons.
different. He's really like a sports personality. That's like endorsing a thing. He's
like
not
Shaq. He's like you can just put Shaq or George on anything and they're going to do a thing. But he's just a complete made up character by Jim.
Yeah.
Kind of blue collar, like Southern sort of.
Yeah, well, the filmmaker who directed the films is the one who created the character, and that's John Cherry. And he was the executive vice president and co-namesake of the Nashville-based Cardin and Cherry advertising agency, and that's where the character was created. And I guess John Cherry just based this Ernest character off of somebody that he knew, like a guy who worked for his dad. And that's it. They created him for an ad, and the ad was super successful.
He worked with
kept
Jim
making
on
ads.
He worked with Jim on creating the character, or just like Jim, be this.
They just hired Jim Varney to play the character. Jim Varney was just a stand-up comedian.
Funny. Yeah, well, he nails it. It's almost, I figured, not knowing anything about the history of it, I figured Jim came up with the characters. Like a SNL person, you come up with like a billion different characters, and then you have skits based on that. But it was invented. He got
I don't know. It might have been a character that he was doing that he just plugged into it, but either way, he was hired by this advertising agency to play this character, and the thing took off like crazy.
Sure.
Usually the way that I describe Ernest to people who don't know who he is that it's like a working class Pee Wee Herman, and I think that works in the context of the character, but also like for the whole production and everything. Like Ernest wasn't made by a hotshot art student with designer sunglasses in Los Angeles. Ernest was a phenomenon from like a small market in the South that exploded and became a huge thing in the 90s. And then you can get these videos anywhere. They were at fucking Blockbuster. They got pretty big.
Yeah. I remember Ernest all over the covers of every other tape on the wall at Blockbuster. He's got such a distinct face.
He's a goofy looking motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
Perfect comedic actor.
Like the facial expression of Jim Carrey, but like the hardness of Danny Trejo.
Yeah, he's not a handsome man. Ernest Saves Christmas was the highest grossing Ernest film and established the series as an institution, which was pretty successful until the mid-90s. And then at some point they started becoming straight-to-video features with like lower budgets.
Cool. I mean, I've seen a handful of them. A lot of them are
I think all of them were directed by John Cherry except for like one. Yeah, this was my favorite Christmas movie as a kid. I had it on VHS. And honestly, I still find it pretty fucking hilarious.
Oh, Gary, I have not watched this particular Ernest film, but it was an absolute delight.
So as a first time watching it, it's pretty good?
Yeah. It brought me back to remembering all the Ernest antics. And yeah, hilarious. It might have even had a pretty big impact on my brand of comedy, at least growing up. Subconsciously, I don't really remember, but seeing these gags is just like, wow, yeah, that is hilarious.
Yeah, it's not the best of the Ernest films, but it's still a pretty good movie. I'm giving Ernest Saves Christmas 3 stars. It's streaming on Disney Plus and Paramount. You can also get the DVD for like $5 on Amazon. I watch mine every year.
Your DVD?
Yeah,
Nice.
That's $5 I ever spent.
That's a good $5.
Yeah.
Gary, you've cracked the code. More Ernest movies out the $5 bin until your DVD stops working.
Yeah. Well,
You
don't
melt
scratch it. How's your DVD going to stop working? You got to really mistreat it.
No, actually, if you didn't know this,
They just
depending
deteriorate?
on deteriorate the magnetism over time.
How long does that take?
Probably like 20 years.
Oh, shit. That DVD came out in 2002. I'm going to need a new copy of Ernest next year.
No, I think it's something like 60 years.
So the plot of Ernest Saves Christmas involves Santa Claus landing in Orlando, Florida. He's come to appoint a replacement for himself. And for some reason, that person is in Florida.
Yeah, why would you go to Florida? What a interesting choice.
It is an interesting choice.
And actually, with that context, I kind of thought of Ernest now as a Florida man. He works and lives in Florida, Gary. And so almost all of his crazy antics make a lot of sense.
He does kind of fit in Florida. And Ernest Saves Christmas was the first major feature film production filmed almost entirely in Orlando, Florida, at the then unfinished Disney MGM studios. Vern's house was a home located on a residential street.
Oh, cool.
And was part of the studio backlot tour until it was demolished in 2002. So I'm pretty bummed I'll never get to see Vern's house.
Wait. So Vern's house was a real home,
It was a real house.
and then they moved it to the back lot?
No, it was part of the backlot tour. It was like a house across the street or some shit.
Oh, okay. It was included because it was just so close. All right. But no one lived there. It was...
I don't know.
guess.
Maybe why you could drive by somebody's house and be like, "That's the house from Ernest."
Yeah, I mean, I guess
It's not really that big of a deal. It's
people
not like
get
they're
paid.
going in there and
ripping
pissing in their cereal.
ripping the electrical out of your walls. More on that later.
Well, that's why the house was demolished, because of that scene. So Ernest P. Worrell is a local taxi driver who drives a taxi cab marked number 69. It's a weird detail. I don't know if it was that just not a joke back then, or
He also has like a Bic ballpoint pen like advertisement on his roof, and I like so many interesting art choices already. Like, this is a kids movie for sure, but funny detail. It made me laugh. I was like, okay, buckle up. Even though Ernest drives around unbuckled.
Yeah. So Ernest picks up Santa Claus, and being that Ernest has the mental capacity of a child, he can accept that at face value that this man is Santa Claus, while most adults in the film don't believe him.
It's you're right. He is skeptical at first, though.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, continues driving, swerving across the road, and smashing the windows out.
So, Ernest loves Christmas, and
Yeah.
he almost kills himself and Santa when he attempts to retrieve a Christmas tree that falls off the back of a truck on the highway.
Lots of comic gags already. Just bonking people's heads and driving like wild across a highway and doing reverses and making funny faces. Man, joyride.
Ernest is also a big fan of the children's performer that Santa is in town to see, Uncle Joe. This is the man who Santa wants to replace him, a local celebrity and children's entertainer named Joe Carruthers.
Good guy, this Joe?
I guess so.
I guess so. I mean, he seems to be nice with children, and that's probably a pretty big Santa rule. You got to work well with children, understand them.
Yeah. While Ernest and Santa are driving, they almost hit a teenage runaway who tells them her name is Harmony Starr. Harmony is trying to escape a waiter she stiffed, and I think it's safe to assume she's come to Orlando in the hopes of becoming an actress or some sort of performer, and will most likely end up performing in porn before she goes back to the Midwest. She might be headed for the bang bus, but first she's picked up by Ernest and Santa Claus in the 69 cab. You know?
The 69 cab, I bet that could be its own porn series, Gary.
Yeah, you get into this cab, and you have to have sex with a slow man and Santa Claus.
A super sweaty, like, just big smiling man.
I'm going to run a train on you, not a man.
We're going to do you and do an impression of John Wayne, little
That's
lady.
right. I know your father was very upset. Like the Santa Claus knows all about her history.
Oh, gross. That's Florida for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I will say,
this character feels completely out of place in the film.
Sure, yes. She's kind of thrown in, and also, how old is she supposed to be? I'm hoping at least 18.
I think she's supposed to be like 15 or something.
That's
she's supposed to be like kind of like a.
But she's a runaway, right?
She's a runaway, but she's not an adult.
She doesn't have parents.
No, she has parents, and they explain more. She's having issues with her family and shit.
Oh, maybe.
But I assume she's like 15 or maybe she's 16. 16 almost seems a little bit too old.
Right.
It's like 16, you're almost a fucking adult.
I think she was actually 18 when they shot this.
Oh, that's good, because I'm going to make some terrible jokes.
Well, I mean, here, the jokes are written into the movie. Like, there's subtext of it, right? She's got cute ponytails and, like, I don't know, there is, like, not a romance at all. I'm glad they don't actually make a romance. But there is some weird sexual tension at times, and it's odd.
Yeah.
But I didn't read into it because
It's
I
also
don't
just
think
weird
it was part of the
like
movie.
Ernest usually hangs out with like kids or adults. It's like a 15-year-old girl is
Right, he's a
strange choice.
He's like a simpleton, right? You can trust this man.
He's a bit slow.
He's loving, and he's not going to accidentally choke you to death. And you don't have to shoot him in the next to the rabbits.
But anyways, Harmony joins Ernest and Santa in the mutual oral mobile, and when they get to their destination, Santa realizes he has no cash, only Mr. Funtime money.
Ooh, someone's been to the strip club.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, right? Mr. Funtime doesn't sound like a fucking board game I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
So Ernest lets him off the hook for the fee, which subsequently gets him fired from his job driving the dick and mouth car. And next, Ernest realizes that Santa left his magic sack in the taxi cab.
Oh, my sack! This old guy running around and yelling about his sack.
And Santa ends up having the police called on him by Marty, the agent, who's a stereotypical 80s yuppie type.
Oh yeah, his sleeves, sleeves of his suit are rolled up. He's wearing a.
He's established pretty quickly with like his vanity plate and you know.
What does it say?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Dickhead.
But he's definitely got like a Mercedes convertible and some sort of vanity plate.
Right, he jumps out and belittles someone as he walks past him. Yeah.
He's supposed to be the unlikable, greedy agent. He's trying to get Joe to a very important audition, but Santa Claus is holding him up. So Marty has him arrested. And with Santa out of the way, Joe gets to the movie audition, at which Joe does great because he's a natural with children.
Right. Yes. Yeah. He's got a beard.
He does have a beard.
He's got this Joe. But it's gray, right?
We know kids love beards, right?
Kids love beards. They love hiding in them.
Yeah.
Make it.
They love the way they tickle them.
Tickle them on their bellies, and you give them fish schnitzels.
But like the agent's supposed to be the bad guy in the scenario, but all he's really doing is trying to get his client a job. You know, if you want to really be devil's advocate, the old man pretending to be Santa at a children's hospital is a little bit alarming.
Right.
You know?
I mean, why wouldn't you be like, did we hire Santa?
Yeah. Well, the guy literally thinks he's Santa Claus.
Right. But also, I'm going to spoil the movie. I'm sorry.
Movie.
It's a stupid spoiler. He has a name.
Oh yeah, well when he's done being Santa Claus, he reverts back to I believe his name is Seth Applegate.
Yeah,
which sounds very Jewish. I don't know.
Seth Applegate.
Yeah,
I could see it. Well, what if he became immediately very Jewish?
He says a yarmulke after he transforms from Santa Claus.
Shalom.
Boy, I don't celebrate this holiday, and he just gets out of there.
Well, keep like.
Well, Jesus was a Jew. Maybe Santa was a Jew.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Keep the Christ in Christmas.
I didn't read the fucking Bible.
No, exactly. It's all derivative.
Ernest does have a "Keep a Christ in Christmas" bumper sticker, which I thought was interesting.
It's not on his car though. It's
Nah,
in his.
he knows better than that. He's got to kind of keep it tucked away. They gave him a talking to at work about some of his political views, so he tries to keep them to himself. He's like, wow. But on his days off, you could find Ernest at abortion clinics with a "Go to hell, baby killer" signs.
Yeah, go to hell. Because you're killing children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So while all this is going on, Ernest brings the Christmas tree he scavenged off the highway to his friend Vern, and this scene is similar to the original Ernest TV ads. It's Vern's point of view and single shot, like long take stuff. And Ernest always claims to be an expert or, he knows what he's doing. And he's a complete buffoon. He just destroys everything he touches. It's great, man. It's good, wholesome fun for the whole family.
Yeah. Jim, he's got a great comedic timing and just like everything is just so over the top and so earnest, right? He just like everything he believes in.
And it's just going a mile a minute.
Just ripping, like he's got the plug stuck in the wall and he's trying to get the plug out of the socket and then it just starts ripping the electrical out of the wall and then he just keeps going with it. And eventually he's like pulling chunks out of the roof and the chandeliers are bumping up and down and he's dropping.
And he gets to the light and you're just like, he just pulls the fucking light out of the wall. Like he's demolishing this guy's house. Or when he sits the tree down, he's like wedging this huge tree. It doesn't fit. And he's breaking all shit. And then he's just like, ooh, party punch. And he turns, he sips the punch.
He just takes the bowl of punch.
This man is schizophrenic. Like he's a fucking lunatic.
Well, Gary, I don't know if it's the fact that it's Florida, but he is so sweaty in this movie. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
Every scene, he is sweat is just pouring out of him. And I don't know if it's that Jim's given like a 1,000% performance again and again, or that he's like done so much meth and coke combined together that he's just like, just going.
He's just so methed out. He's trying to rewire his fucking neighbor's house.
They're actually just filming him at his house, just actually going at it. Chugging punch straight from the bowl. Yeah, really funny performance, and I kind of want to track down these commercials now that you've said. The
commercials can be pretty fucking great.
Yeah, right.
And I think the TV show was basically the same thing, where it was just like a POV of Vern.
He had a morning show?
A Saturday morning kids show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was on like CBS.
So I mean, that's why he'd have these kids movies, right? He's a kids performer. He looks ugly. He makes silly faces. He does funny things, and they're all pretty wholesome, except for like some weird under jokes that parents would get and make it also enjoyable for them.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, as a kid, wouldn't have picked up on like 69 the vehicle or the fact
that's weird, man. I don't know if because it's hard to believe that they would that's just an accident.
Right. But also he gets the businessman at the beginning. He gets the businessman to the airport on time. He smashes a bunch of other people's clothes and bags when he launches the taxi into the air. Yeah. He lands and he blasts this man's head against the roof a number of times.
Yeah.
And he rips the man's bag open and goes to give it to him. And out of the guy's bag falls like a couple of cans of like spray paint and some other things that you definitely can't travel with. And like
I didn't even notice
a container of petroleum jelly.
Really?
And yeah.
Is there really just weird shit in his bag?
Just a handful of shit just falls. I mean, so the art team, I think, is maybe responsible for a lot of those jokes, but if it's all, the director, it comes down to the director being like, I don't know, put some weird shit into his bag. I don't know, make the taxi a funny fucking number.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know, it works. It's a lot of little details, and the things are just a laugh a minute.
Ernest Saves Christmas also features the brothers Chuck and Bobby, played by Gaylord Sartain and Bill Burge. This time they're like the luggage crew at the airport, and they're trying to figure out how to handle Santa's flying reindeer.
Yeah,
in which like they burst out of their crates and just start crawling around the ceiling like a deleted scene from The Exorcist. I've never seen flying reindeer like act like this. It's kind of strange.
Like have to fly, or
they're just crawling around the ceiling.
Those two, I didn't realize they're brothers. The two security officers. They're
I think they're supposed to be brothers, or most of the time they're brothers.
But they're just a comic duo.
They're a comic duo, another comic duo that was put together, I think, by John Cherry's advertising agency.
Oh, well, they're very funny. Like,
yeah, they're great. The little dude is fucking so weird looking. And Gaylord Sartain was in lots of stuff.
He's got this funny eye movement where he
he keeps doing the eye thing in this.
Jostles him back and forth and a funny sound effect plays.
It's not very fun.
Very comedic.
This is actually I thought this was like a weak performance for Chuck and Bobby. This is not their best Ernest movie.
Okay. I look
these
forward
scenes were not that funny.
to watching the other ones.
Yeah. And I could never understand why Santa didn't just fly to Orlando on the reindeer. It's strange that instead he gets on a plane and ships the reindeer in crates. He really must be getting senile.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and he says so, right? That's the reason he has to give up his position.
Losing his shit.
He's losing his shit. He's got to take notes now. He can't just remember all the kids in the world. And here's a good. I don't know if you're gonna get to this later, but he gives a good excuse why he can't get to all the. He doesn't have to get to all the kids in the world, and this made me think.
Oh yeah, I don't have to go see the daddy Jews.
No,
Muslim children don't get gifts, you see, so it's okay. That's like a third of the world.
Yeah, no, exactly. So there you go. A third of the world of children already don't get gifts.
Yeah,
the other half don't really believe in you, and
they don't have God in China.
He only.
They don't.
I just imagine
culturally they don't have God in China.
The Santa saying that though, and like shrugging it off, making excuses. Making excuses, Santa.
Yeah. So Ernest, what's up?
But also, while we're talking about Santa and this movie's portrayal of him, the movie starts out with like a festive holiday song. And images
starts off with a melee of holiday songs. It's like fucking 4 songs, and they're just showing like credits. Old. It looks like Coca-Cola Santa Claus artwork.
Half of them are Coca-Cola,
which honestly, so funny. Also at first I was like, "That's weird that it's Coca-Cola." But then it's like, yeah, that's what Santa Claus is. Santa Claus was created by the Coca-Cola Corporation like 100 years ago or some shit.
Or at least the most popular image we have today is
what we think of as modern Santa Claus.
Yeah, with the red suit,
is the Coca-Cola Santa Claus.
Being tall and big. Before there's all sorts of iterations of Santa throughout history. You have small ones that were elves and Saint Nicholas, various versions, but ultimately it came to the Coca-Cola company taking all these and saying, "Hey, Santa Claus, he's big, he wears a red suit, he loves Coca-Cola."
Yeah,
and like amalgamifying all the Santas. So
yeah,
you can
Coca-Cola
understand
created
that as
our version of Santa, and you can tell because when you look at him, he's got fucking diabetes. He looks like shit. His fucking face is red. He's fat as fuck. This dude is about to drop dead.
Give me more cookies and Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ho, ho, oh, oh.
Santa Claus looks old. He's 36, Russ. He's been drinking Coca-Cola every day.
36,000. And then one day he eats 1,500 cookies.
Yeah.
Well, no, probably more. How many children would he have had? Too many cookies. Dude. And a lot of milk.
Much milk.
A lot of milk.
No wonder he needs a replacement.
Although
his fucking diet is garbage.
Gary, did you do Santa?
Did I have sex with Santa Claus?
Did you fuck Santa Claus?
I saw Gary fucking Santa Claus. Yeah, dude. When I was a little kid, I came down and Santa Claus molested me, and that's why I'm so edgy, Russ.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
He ate your cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, my point was, I don't think Santa always eats all the cookies. He usually nibbles one bite. He leaves a butt fuck
you gotta, like,
shut
take
ton
a
of
bite.
crumbs.
Yeah.
He just like knocks him out of his beard all over the plate. And he's like, "Well, clean this shit up, kid."
Yeah.
He's gonna drink a little bit of milk. He's gonna, spy on you.
Have a little bit of milk. This guy must never shit. Like he must. That's why he drinks so much milk and eats so many cookies. He doesn't have time to shit on Christmas, so he just lets himself get bricked up.
So, dude,
and fucking December 26th, he just fucking destroys the plumbing in the North Pole.
So much so that it presses.
There's a team of elves there just to unclog Santa's fucking toilet.
Feels so good. He comes twice a year. Terrible joke. Terrible joke. Good. You ever shit so good you come, Gary?
That's your go-to on the show.
Do I say that a lot?
Gary, would you ever, if you were a giant ape, would you steal an actress and climb to the Empire State Building?
But would you?
Yeah.
Okay,
of
good.
course, dude.
How many bananas would you have to eat?
I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to eat a lot of bananas. You'd probably eat them with the skin on.
Just by sheer size of you need a lot of bananas.
You'd probably eat every fruit with the skin on.
I would just eat the actress.
Well, there you go. But yeah, after 100 years of not shitting, I would be willing to give up my position too.
Yeah.
So,
So Ernest goes back to the Children's Museum to look for Santa Claus, and he finds out he's been arrested. So he devises a plot to break him out of prison, which involves Ernest dressing up as an employee of the governor and Harmony as the governor's niece. And this is a great scene. First off, inside the prison, there's some pretty creative stuff with Santa. He's got snowflake fingerprints. He has all the inmates singing Christmas carols in harmony.
Of course he would.
And then Ernest comes in. He's doing this like well-educated wasp character.
Sure.
It's fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, like a lawyer. He's some sort of bureaucrat, right?
Yeah, he's some like bureaucrat. And Ernest and Harmony escape the prison with Santa. And this is when we learn Harmony's real name, which is Pamela. And her backstory is that she ran away from her parents because they're getting divorced.
Dang.
Which still doesn't really explain why she's hanging out with Ernest.
He's hilarious.
He is funny.
He's got the best meth around.
Yeah.
He gets you everywhere on time. But, not in one piece.
Yeah.
You'll be traumatized.
Then Santa explains to them he needs to pass on his magical powers to the next Santa the same way they were passed on to him 100 years ago, and that's through sexual intercourse. He must sodomize Joe Carruthers at the children's hospital, and he needs to do it by 7 p.m. or else there are going to be lots of disappointed children all over the world. I'm kidding, of course, but it would be funny if becoming Santa Claus worked like a gang in the 90s, and you either had to be sexed in or had to kill someone, like in Blood In, Blood Out.
No, damn.
Santa in, Santa out.
That's hardcore.
Dang.
Worth it, though, right?
I guess so.
To be in the gang?
For the power?
Yeah. For the power of Santa?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although it does almost seem like a little bit of a curse. It's like...
It's a burden.
Yeah, it really is. Like, look at Tim Allen, Look at him. Just look at him. Just goddamn look.
Yeah, look what it did to him. So the transfer of the Santa powers must be done by 7 p.m. that night. There's a hard limit on this, and the situation, of course, requires another disguise and another Jim Varney character. This time, Ernest dresses up like the heavyset older woman. He goes to Joe's agent's office.
She's got like a neck brace on.
The agent's mother, yeah. Jim Varney in a dress cracks me up every time, dude.
Just his neck all squished up.
My son, I'm just glad his father wasn't here.
I can't do it, but you got it.
Yeah. Didn't pick me up from the airport. I need him.
So
help.
is life. You have one boy, a huge disappointment. The other, a success.
And that's the thing about Jim Varney. He can just rattle these lines off like a fucking maniac.
Yeah. Is it ad-libbed?
There was probably a script, but this is why he's obviously a successful movie actor. Like, I could never fucking learn this script and perform it like this. It's fucking amazing.
With so many different characters.
All the lines he's doing, like he's got pages and pages of dialogue. Yeah.
Let's do it. Now I'm an old lady.
You think Jim Varney was doing a lot of coke?
I don't know, dude. He was either coked out of his mind, and that's why he's so sweaty, or the Florida production was just hot as shit, and just so hot.
Yeah,
he is so sweaty. Or it was an art choice. It was like, he's got to be really sweaty.
No, I think it was. They probably could have had makeup make him not sweaty, but it's way funnier. Have this fucking sweaty
really
mongoloid
sweaty.
just with a wide angle lens right in his face when he's just pulling wires out of the wall.
Just giving you the goofiest smile and just sweating.
It wouldn't be
profusely.
funny to like make him look good and shoot him in a way that's like flattering. It's like no, the opposite. Make him look greasy and gross and use the wrong millimeter lens way too close. Like, it's so good, dude.
Yeah, really a lot of good choices made to make it funny in like a very 90s gross way, right? You wouldn't see that. They wouldn't do this now. Like, I don't think these choices would be made.
Yeah, I don't know if they make stuff like this now, but let me take a piss. I'm sorry. So next they drop off Pamela with Santa's magic sack, and they head to the movie studio to find Joe Carruthers.
Wait, they drop her off?
Yeah, they
do you
just
mean?
leave her with the magic sack at Ernest's house or whatever.
Right. So, okay. She's run away. I guess she needs a place to stay, but she's just going to stay at this strange guy's house.
And Ernest
And
is
they're
dumb
gonna
enough to
trust her
just
with it.
trust any fucking teenage runaway.
Right, sure. Ooh, she's a little runaway.
So this time, Jim Varney dresses up like a snake wrangler. And this might be one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Oh, I'm a snake wrangler.
Yeah, when Ernest is trying to scare away the security guard from the truck, but these snakes are poison. They're poison snakes.
Yeah.
These movie people, they always need the snakes.
Yeah, it's a great performance. Santa's hiding under with a bunch of
Like rattling
with a
rattles.
baby rattle and some tubes, and
You want one for your boy? I gave my boy a snake. He takes the hat, puts it on his heart. That shit is hilarious.
yeah, just so good. Can you show that clip, please?
I'll try. I don't know if I think Disney. I don't know who owns this shit.
Oh, that's true.
Next, Santa sneaks into the studio to see Joe, and he ends up catching a take of the movie, which is like a Christmas-themed horror film called Santa's Sleigh. And Joe Carruthers is having trouble with the part because he's uncomfortable swearing.
Right.
And the monster in the movie is just the creature from the Black Lagoon with like some shit on.
Yeah, with some like an electric board
Really
and some
cheap.
other weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the joke. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like, oh, he's on a big movie. Like the monster.
And the
looks
monster
like
looks
shit.
like trash. Yeah.
And then when the director explains to Santa Claus that they're making a film about an alien terrorizing children on Christmas, Santa just hauls off and slugs them.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Santa
hilarious.
straight up.
It's like terrorizing children on Christmas.
I don't know why I'm giving him an English accent.
I think he was kind of
He
English.
is kind of have an English accent, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
sure. Santa's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Freaking
pretty funny,
weird
though.
English guy. Yeah. It didn't seem like out of character, but also who would expect Santa to just punch a guy for making
Well, he's so offended by the idea of
Oh.
terrorizing children on Christmas.
Christmas, right? It's kind of offensive. And Joe, his prodigal son, being the guy who's there to swear and shoot a alien. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it seems like a bit much for your ultimate plan. Especially for a movie, right? He would then be painted in the public eye with this series of Santa sleigh movies.
Yeah, he's so wholesome he can't fucking.
By the
Does
way,
it say God damn it? That's fucking what a pussy.
yeah. By the way, isn't Santa sleigh? Didn't they make that Santa's?
I don't know. Is that a real
SLAY?
movie? They probably have.
with Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
With
Maybe we should watch
Goldberg
that.
as Santa. Yeah.
Does he spear people?
Probably.
So wait, a Jewish Santa Claus?
Yeah. Hey, it's not too far off.
Yeah,
As we
yeah.
said before,
Seth Applegate, Bill Goldberg. Makes sense.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. So Pamela takes off with Santa's magic sack and almost leaves on a bus to Miami, but she has a change of heart when she hears kids talking about Santa Claus, so she heads back.
Right.
And then Ernest goes.
She's trying to get money out of it or something. It's a magic sack, right?
She's trying to figure out how to exploit it, but she really can't. She's just pulling out like dumb toys that she doesn't want.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
She wants like a TV, or like a Nintendo game system.
yeah, she's trying to like get, I guess, shit she could pawn, but she's just getting, slinkies and fucking dumb
Gack.
shit. Yeah, yeah.
You remember what was the stuff? It was like goo with foam beads in it.
I don't know.
Floam.
Floam.
Yeah. You remember that shit?
No.
Yeah.
I do remember them selling shit like that. I remember like the creepy crawlers, the thing where you make bugs, and then like remember the big
Yeah.
skull?
It was a easy bake oven for
Easy
for
bake
boys.
up for boys. Yeah, yeah.
Because you made rubber snakes instead of like
Instead of
rubber
rubber cakes.
edible
Yeah,
cakes.
yeah.
Cakes. There you go, snakes and cakes.
Yeah, there you go.
What was the skull?
It's a great
Mighty
idea.
Max?
Give your kid a fucking oven, a 400-degree oven.
I don't think they got that hot. It pretty much
No,
cooks it
they
with like
got
a
pretty hot.
It got cooked
Cooks
with
it
like a light bulb,
but
Yeah.
still, it gets pretty hot.
Sure, I bet you could burn
burn
yourself.
yourself. I'm sure a lot of kids burn themselves.
Well, it'll teach you how to cook good.
Yeah,
Pay attention. You can get burnt real bad in the kitchen.
that's right. So Ernest goes to get the reindeer from Chuck and Bobby, and the elves show up finally. And I don't know where they got the little people actors, but they look ancient. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
definitely.
surprised if these two were like original Wizards of Oz cast members.
Sure, they are quite rankly.
Yeah, they're like senior. They're like elderly midgets.
Would you not believe that an elf
It's
could
more
be
believable.
old?
It looks better.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Usually the elves
think
look
it's-
too young.
I think it's good casting.
Yeah.
I mean, for elves.
Much to the elves' objection, Ernest decides to fly Santa's sleigh to the Children's Museum. And at first, the reindeer and the sleigh fly all over the sky. It's a pretty cartoony sequence.
Yeah, the visual effects aren't great, but what do you expect? What year was this? 96?
This is 88.
Is 88?
This
Oh,
is 88. I think it was made for like 6.5 million.
well, that's pretty good then, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad for a low-budget movie.
You know, and again, it's for the joke, and it's for children. So
And
children
they get decent aerial footage to go into it, so you
Yeah.
it's not terrible.
Yeah, children can forgive a lot as long as the joke is there. That's really the point of movie making, right? It's all symbols that you interpret, even a person's face and everything. It's all just visuals that you interpret as being a face, you know, that you have put together and assembled into the thing. So a joke on top of that is, you know, just the semblance of the ideas on the screen that you can interpret as being the things. So
Yeah.
him flying around, it might not be the best effect, but it gets the joke across, and there's
It kind
and
of
in
reminds
that
me of
is
like
fun.
Wile E. Coyote or something. It's
Yeah,
very
just-
like pulled from Looney Tunes. And Joe Carruthers sees the reindeer flying around, and it convinces him that Santa told him was real. And he turns down the acting job, and he leaves to find Santa at the Children's
Yeah,
Museum.
Joe, do it.
Yeah, and he accepts the job, and you know Santa's pretty happy, and he transforms Joe into the new Santa Claus.
Via handshake, not that other thing
By
you
handshake.
said.
He doesn't. Yeah,
Not that horrible joke you made.
yeah. He doesn't rape him in the Children's Museum.
Oh, I'm great, Joe. I'm glad to hear that.
He starts pulling off his pants.
Well, I mean, Joe accepted this. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
yeah.
not really sexual assault if
Yeah.
you say yes.
Yeah.
Accepting this burden for the children, Gary. It's for the children.
It's for the children, of course. The new Santa uses his magic to make it snow in Orlando, which makes the businessman from the beginning kind of soften. And it's like a weird like bookend in the movie.
Yeah. Maybe we were the businessman the whole time
Yeah, right? We were the businessmen.
from Toronto who wanted snow.
Yeah, what the
In
fuck is it? Why does he
Florida.
want snow? He lives in Toronto. He's probably sick of snow.
Yeah, right? You got to shovel snow every day, and it probably looks ugly and horrible. Why would you want snow in Florida?
Why don't you just go back to Toronto?
Yeah, just go back to Toronto,
guy's
you
an
stupid
asshole.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you goddamn Canuck. Make me sick.
Yeah. Ernest and the helpers arrive at the museum at 6:58. Pamela calls her mother and decides to go home for Christmas. And the new Santa decides to have Pamela be his special helper so he can then take her home afterwards. And he also allows Ernest to be the sleigh driver for the night, which seems like a big mistake. The old
Yeah.
Santa-
Wait. So Ernest flies around.
Ernest is going to fly the sleigh.
But he just broke the sleigh. He just ripped the emergency
so.
hand brake off.
Yeah, yeah.
He pretty much ripped off all the steering. I don't know how he landed it with air brakes, right?
Yeah.
And that's the joke. He like stops like Bugs Bunny.
Air
and-
brakes.
Yeah. Is that a thing trucks have? I didn't quite get the joke
I don't know, man.
because I feel like I've heard of that, and air brakes might have been new in like '88 and really good on
Maybe,
trucks or something. But the joke's just like what? So cartoony.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
I forgive it because the rest of it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so the old Santa resumes his former identity as...
Wait. So then you're going to take this crazy man who's all hopped up on meth, and you're going to have
Come on,
him
Joe.
drive the now broken sleigh with your new Santa and some 15-year-old they picked up off the street
Yeah,
to
yeah.
deliver presents on Joe's first night. Yeah.
Yep,
All right. Well,
sounds good.
good call, Santa. And, you know, he is going senile. You're right, Gary.
Yeah, and then
all his marbles.
the old Santa resumes his former identity as Seth Applegate and spends Christmas Eve with the elderly museum employee, Mary Morrissey.
Yeah.
The school marm looking bitch. So Santa gets some old ass pussy at the end.
Is she now Mrs. Claus, or is there Mrs.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Mrs. Claus?
He's like, oh, I'm leaving. Now, Joe, now you also have to fuck my old wife. You have to go- She's in the North Pole. She's 3,000 years old.
She'll never know.
I'm
that
going
we
for this
switched out.
younger lady. She's only 68.
instead of 3,000.
Social Security just kicked in, and we're gonna
Gonna
spend a weekend
live off that. All I have is this Mr. Funny money.
Yeah. So
she's going with a hobo essentially.
Yep. She's about
He's
to get
now
some
homeless.
Jolly Saint Dick.
He doesn't. Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's all that matters when you get that old, Gary. You get it when you take it when you can. You give it when you can. You take it when you can.
Take it when you can, and you give it when you can.
Yeah, there you go.
The new Santa takes off at 7 p.m. to deliver the gifts. And the ending scene shows the two holding dock workers, Chuck and Bobby, receiving a large crate with shipping papers marked E. Bunny and arguing over the spelling of the name when suddenly two large rabbit ears burst through the top of the crate.
It's like an Easter bunny.
You got it, Russ. And it kind of, gives you a little taste of a sequel possibly where Ernest tries to pet the Easter Bunny but accidentally hugs him to death, because he's kind of slow. And then he has to deliver all the eggs.
Yeah, sure. And Jesus has to put him down.
Yeah. He's just dropping eggs everywhere.
Yeah.
Ernest with eggs is just natural
just,
funny.
Yeah. He's gonna drop him. He's gonna slip on him. They're gonna slam onto his face, or he's gonna execute it perfectly. Like he's gonna slip around on some shit, but all the eggs will land really nice. No.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a weird inconsistency to the Ernest character. He's like this total bumbling, honest person. He's just going for it 100% always. He gets hyper fixated on something and he just keeps going for that sort of thing. He's got a lot going on in his brain. He's thinking of people that he could help for Christmas. He's thinking of ways to get to the airport quicker. He's thinking of his days back in the driving NASCAR or whatever. He's this jumbled man, but then he can hone in on John Wayne impersonations. He can be a classy person, or
he's
at
a
least
savant.
act like it.
He's a savant. He's a complete moron, but then he does spot on impersonations. He's also a master of disguise. Let's be honest here.
Disguise, yeah. He can talk.
Jim Varney is unstoppable. If this guy was James Bond, he would get into any situation he could do.
A Jim Varney James Bond would be perfect. I was thinking, Mission Impossible. It was just underutilized. He would probably be great in A Naked Gun. I mean, not to say that Leslie Nielsen wasn't fantastic, but did they ever do a spy thing with Ernest?
I don't think so.
It's Ernest in the Army. He joins the spy.
He does go to the army at some point.
That'd be missed opportunities. I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's passed away, Jim.
Yeah, Jim Varney died a while back. I think maybe 2005 or early 2000s. Maybe it was late 90s. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But he's been dead for a while.
Even though he still, I guess, continues to be the voice of Slinky Dog somehow in the Toy Story movies.
Oh, okay. Did they just have enough footage of him, or they actually else do the voice or some shit?
Dialogue to have him go yeah,
interesting.
In the back or whatever. They did the same thing with Mr. Potato Head. He's got one line "Hey guys, I'm Mr. Potato Head."
Is that actor also dead?
That actor's also passed away.
Damn,
and yet he keeps on. He keeps on living through his audio recordings and Disney's magic of keeping you alive through the power of their buying your likeness.
Yeah, as much as I love watching Ernest Saves Christmas, it does feel kind of sloppy. I think it would be a much better movie if the plot involved Ernest having to be Santa or something.
I think I read that was initially the idea. And then actually, initially, the script wasn't an Ernest thing. It was adapted for Ernest.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then, so not to say he was shoehorned in there, but...
That's exactly what it feels like. It just feels like it's a Santa story with Ernest in there. He doesn't really save Christmas as much as he's just there. And
right.
He brings the sleigh.
Yeah.
He brings the sack and he brings the sleigh.
And I was pretty sure Disney said... We don't want Ernest to become Santa. He's such a bumbling
What did Disney have
buffoon.
to do with it?
Well, didn't they have anything to do with it? No?
I don't think so. Touchstone?
Touchstone is a Disney company.
Oh, okay. So maybe
it's a white label. It's a way.
It's just a lower budget.
It's a way to make content and not have it say Disney on it.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, Touchstone doesn't really exist anymore. I don't think they absorbed it a while back because
so it is made by
superfluous.
Disney.
Yeah. Nightmare Before Christmas is also a Touchstone picture, but that's a Disney
Yeah.
picture. It's like 20th Century Fox now, right?
Sure.
Also a Disney property
Okay.
or owner.
So there you have it. Ernest is a Disney princess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too much, actually. They should start marketing that. Make that meme immediately. Internet, make it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Solid movie, man. I say 3 stars.
I'm saying 4 stars.
There you go. 4
De
stars.
Niro, 4 De Niros. He comes at it saying, best movie
You know,
I've
that's
seen.
not
of
the joke, right? The joke is just that you call him De Niro's because De Niro's a big star. It's not like what De Niro would think of the movie.
I know. That's what I'm running with. What De Niro would think of the movie. He comes out, says, best movie I've seen all year.
Yeah, I think De Niro would like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a good sense of comedy.
Fucking funny. Yeah.
The DVD was released on September 3rd, 2002 from Touchstone Home Entertainment.
Does it have commentary, Gary?
There's no commentary. There's not much on the DVD at all.
That's a big bummer.
What's
I
even
wanted
more
to
of a
watch
bummer is this is one of the only of the big 4 Ernest movies not to be released on Blu-ray,
Okay.
which seems weird. I don't know. I hope that they do that soon.
I also hear it's one of the few Disney movies. Oh, sorry, one of the few Ernest movies that got a theatrical release outside of America, outside of national playing.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Ernest Saves Christmas was added to Disney Plus on November 26, 2021. So yeah, so the other thing that I want to talk about is there's like this blind item.
Okay.
Right? Do you know what a blind item is, Russ?
No. What
That's
is
when
it?
somebody like leaks something to the press, but they don't use the names.
Okay.
So you could tell who it is, but they don't say the name technically.
Okay.
And this one alleges that Jim Varney and Freddie Mercury from the band Queen
Sure.
had an alleged fling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Imagine those
an
two
interesting
those two
image.
big fucking grills bumping into each other.
I'm imagining it, Gary. I'm imagining it. It's
Talk
very
about
common.
Tooth City. Somebody get a dentist in here quick. These two fucking big crooked grills are just going at it.
It would be very comical. Both sweating a lot, probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I think I have to say allegedly.
You know what? It doesn't make me think less of either of those people.
It makes me think more of both of them.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
And also, probably the most hilarious night of gay sex ever. Let's be honest. Oh, hey, everybody! I'm gonna suck your dick.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I don't know. I haven't seen
I
Freddie
can't do a
Mercury
good Freddie
impression.
Mercury. I think he.
I could just sing a song, but that's not a good impression. That's just shitty karaoke.
Yeah, for sure. And then Jim Varney went on to be kind of a big star in Hollywood. He portrayed Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hills Hillbillies movie in like '93.
Is it anything like the snake handler impression?
I hope so.
Because that is a riot.
Yeah.
All them Hollywood folk want is poison. Poison.
Poison snakes.
I'm gonna go watch that scene right now.
Yeah. It's like, in what world does a guy roll into a movie studio with like a rope belt? It's so fucking ridiculous.
Hey, the 90s, 80s, the 80s, dude. Do you want to get bit by a poisonous snake? This man just rolled up with a truck full of poisonous snakes covered with a tarp.
Yeah.
You want to look under that?
And then when they're leaving, they actually fill the truck up with snakes.
Yeah.
So there is like a payoff.
Yeah, actually. But I kind of wanted something to happen with the snakes.
Yeah.
I
think they bite Ernest. Isn't that like
oh,
on
yeah,
his
that's
face?
right. They're all biting his face. That's
Yeah.
right.
And, I just think another really funny moment is when he's making the pancakes and like he's slipping the pancakes up and they're just sticking to the ceiling. And he's talking about like he just starts talking about like a story from his childhood about his house. He's like, we didn't have a regular fireplace, so Santa Claus had to ooze in, and he pushes on his cheeks.
And then they just do a super extreme close punch in on his
Yeah.
like silly face smushing up. Yeah, just so many funny faces, so many funny deliveries. Just really, really funny. So can't suggest it enough. Watch that, and I'm gonna go watch more Ernest movies. Maybe not on this podcast, but for my own entertainment.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Anything else you want to say, Gary?
No, I think that's it.
All right, peace, y'all. Like, subscribe, hit the other buttons, suck your own dick. Peace, fuckers.